Hey guys, how you doing? Today we're going to work on the V-step from frontal stance. Now, this is known as the V-step, not because the legs move diagonally like this. The legs, the feet, will actually move directly forwards, but the center of gravity moves in a diagonal angle, and that's why it's known as the V-step. Now, there is a saying in Wing Tsun, is that don't collide with a strong opponent. And this is a way of, let's say, realizing this, where we step to our opponent's flank, maybe where they're a little bit weak. And this is one of the reasons why we'd actually use the V-step. Now, when it comes to the V-step, what we're going to do today is we can, like I said, we can do the V-step from advancing stance like this, or we can do the V-step from frontal stance like this. Today, we're going to work on the V-step from the frontal stance. So the starting position is the frontal stance, and the finishing position with the V-step is Sideling Stance. This is the same as the turning stance, again, when we go from frontal stance to Sideling Stance. Now, when we do the turning stance, part of the movement is shifting the body weight to the side, and then we have rotation of the torso. When we're doing the V-step, we're adding in a step where the 2 feet are moving forwards. Now, it's not a case that the feet step directly forwards. We shift the body weight and we rotate. It's also not a step, it's also not a case where we shift the body weight, we rotate, and then we step forwards. Instead, with the V-step, what we're actually doing is we are rotating the torso first. So we're rotating the torso first, the 2 feet move directly forwards, but then as we land, all of our weight comes onto one of our legs as opposed to 2 of our legs, and therefore the center of gravity moves in a diagonal angle. So another thing with this is that it's not a case where the rotation of the torso starts and finishes with the stepping of the feet. One thing is we definitely don't want, when we land, we don't want any further rotation after we land, because this can just lead to instability, recoil, and lack of power. And it's not a case, like I said, where the rotation of the torso starts and finishes with the feet. Instead, we will start to rotate the torso first, and by the time the foot lands, the rotation of the torso is finished. Another thing, when it comes to the rotation of the torso, whenever we rotate the torso, it's rotating around what is called a longitudinal axis. Now, in the turning stance, we shift the weight first. The longitudinal axis cuts the body in half, and you see one side of the body going forwards and another side of the body going backwards. When it comes to the rotation with the V-step, the longitudinal axis is not in the middle of the body. It's actually in line with one of the shoulders and one of the hips. So it's a case you will see the body coming forwards, but you won't see any of the body coming backwards. So it'll be like this. Now, when we're starting with the rotation, when we're starting with moving the body forwards, what's happening is that we have internal rotation of the hip. But it's not a case where the femur of the leg internally rotates into the hip. It's a case where the hip moves around the head of the femur, and this creates the internal rotation, and this creates the rotation of the torso of the body, and then we're stepping forwards. And what happens is that as we start to rotate the torso first like this, it makes us top heavy. And gravitational potential energy, which is being stored when we're standing like this gravitational potential energy starts to be converted to kinetic energy. And this means that because it's being converted to kinetic energy, when I start stepping with my leg, it's not from inertia. Inertia is a form of resistance, and if we minimize inertia, it just makes the movement more effortless, more efficient, more biomechanically efficient. So from here, I make myself top heavy, internal rotation of the supporting hip here, we step forwards, and as my foot lands then, this foot which was internally rotated, there will be external rotation of the foot here. So again, we're starting like this, a bit of internal rotation, we rotate the torso, and then we just step forwards directly, and the line cuts the body in half like this, and our center of gravity has moved in a diagonal angle. And that's really it, guys. That is the V-step from frontal stance. In the next video, we'll actually look at the V-step from advancing stance. And that's really it. Thanks guys.